Hello everybody and welcome to another YouTube video from Routemaster for Hire. Now if you watched the last video you'll know we finally made a start on the internal restoration of RM1214 and here we are on the upper deck. As you can see, the seats have been removed, or the seat frames have gone, and that tired old Rexine has been removed from the sidewalls. Now we've still got a lot more prep to do on this bus and that is what we're going to be cracking on with today. Now a couple of jobs that I want to get done today is, first of all, I want to remove this beading. Now this beading strip runs all the way along both sides of the bus on the upper and lower decks. As you can see, the beading is covered in Rexine. That needs replacing. Now to get these strips off we're going to have to drill out these rivets, so that's the first job. The second job is to remove these brackets from the sidewalls. Now these were the brackets that held the top of the seat frames in place. To get them off, they're notoriously hard to get these screws out. So in order to do that we've had to order a new impact driver set. That's been delivered this morning, so we're going to crack on with that job today as well. And there you have it, that's the first one off, and just like we did on the seat frames we're going to give each one of these a number so that when they go back on we know exactly where they came from. Well, there you have it, that's the strip out virtually done. And even our four-legged friend here has come in to inspect the work. What do you reckon, Jess? Have we done a good job? I think so. Okay, now the next part of the restoration project is going to be stripping back these walls back to bare metal. Now it may look like we've left some Rexine in places with these purple patches, but this actually isn't Rexine, it's paint. This bus had a real mixture of Rexine in places, paint in other places. So we're going to strip all this back to bare metal and then we're going to prime it and undercoat it, and that way that paint will protect the aluminium for many, many years to come. The Rexine will then go on top of that, of course, when we start refitting the bus. So that's going to be the next project. We're going to get the sander out and get very, very dusty, and I think, Jess, it's time for you to go on your bed because I don't think you want to be breathing in all this dust. Go on, off you go. No? You want to stay here, do you? Oh, okay, you stay here. You go home a white dog, not a black dog, if you do that though. Why don't you go on your bed? Good girl. See you later. Go on. Yeah, she's going. Well, 2 days that's taken. The upper deck is done. We're going to do around the stairwell yet, all around the lover seat here, and of course the lower saloon. But everything right now up here, including myself, is absolutely covered in dust. But everything up here is back to bare metal. So we're well on the way to getting this horrible, mucky, dirty, dusty job done. Well, thank goodness that sanding is done. That messy, horrible job is now finished. And as you can see, the sidewalls are back to bare metal. So the next big job for the sidewalls is etch priming. Going to tackle that tomorrow, but for now, going to have a look at the flooring on the bus. In reality, really, I should be replacing the flooring on this bus. It is long past its sell-by date, but unfortunately I don't have the funds available to buy new flooring. It's very, very expensive. So I'm going to give it a good clean and see if I can polish it up and make the flooring look a little bit nicer than it already is. Now before I do that, I just wanted to comment on the last video because in that video I did ask for your advice. If you remember, if you watched it, I was asking for your advice as to whether or not we should keep the PA system on the bus or take it out. And you've been responding in your drove, so thank you very much for your comments, your suggestions and your advice. As you can see, the PA system is still in place. I have made a decision and I'll let you know what that decision is before the end of the video, but a decision has been made at last. So more on that decision later, but first we had a break from work on RM1214 as our good friend Nigel brought over his bus for some much needed maintenance. Nigel's bus is an RT. They were the standard post-war London double-decker bus made famous in the film Summer Holiday that starred Cliff Richard. You made it then?
Yes.
This film recorded,
yes. Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
Where's Nigel?
He was right behind me. 2 seconds.
We wondered if he's got lost. There he is.
Christ, I didn't recognise you from a distance.
Oh, yeah. This one is RT2291. She entered service with London Transport in 1949 and served the capital for 22 years until withdrawal in May 1971. After withdrawal, she had a number of private owners. However, Nigel's only owned the bus for about a year, He keeps it not far from us, up on the Wirral. Now, we don't get to work on RTs very often, so this made a nice change. We were told the bus wasn't running right, it seemed to be down on power, and more worryingly, it was also overheating. So it's come to us so we can have a good look at it. The first job was to get the bus inside and on the lift so we could have a good look underneath. To tackle the lack of power, our first port of call was to clean the fuel system out. We replaced all the filters and stripped and rebuilt the lift pump. And after a little run, things were much improved. With the engine still warm, we also decided it was time to adjust the tappets. It's probably been many, many years since these were last adjusted.
No, it's a little flat bladed.
This one.
That's it.
That's it.
We then tackled the more serious problem of the overheating issue, and after removing the engine side plates we discovered what the problem was. 40 years of sludge build-up. No wonder the engine was running hot. Not much water was going to be flowing past this little lot. After spending a good hour flushing the cooling system and making some fine adjustments to the fuel pump, it was time for the fun bit, a road test. Or, if you're Jess, it was time for a sleep.
Definitely pulls better than it was doing.
Was it?
Yeah.
I don't know, I noticed. Well, that was a really enjoyable and productive couple of days working on Nigel's RT. Made a real nice change. And the good news is Nigel has reported that the bus is running so much nicer, and more importantly, the engine isn't overheating anymore. So that's good news all round. Now, as you can see, we are back on RM1214, and today's job is we're going to be starting the etch priming. Now, normally when we etch prime, we only tend to normally do the odd panel here and there, and so what we normally use for that job would be an aerosol etch primer like this. Now, of course, to do the whole of the inside of the bus is completely impractical to use aerosols. So what we have here is a 2-pack epoxy etch primer. You mix these two 50-50 and then you roller it on. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Now, of course, before you do any painting, it's important that you mask up the areas that you don't want to get paint on. And for us, that's the kickboards and some areas around the windows. So we're going to get the masking tape out first. Then, of course, before you pick up any kind of paintbrush or roller, it's important that you degrease and clean the areas that you're going to be painting. And for that, we're going to be using this fast drying degreaser. So we've got a lot of work to do today. Let's get kitted up and let's get busy. Will you get out the way? Painting is not one of my strengths, but so far it's going on okay and I've not made a mess. Well, not much of a mess anyway. So with the etch primer dry, the next day it was time to tackle the undercoat. And just like London Transport did all those years ago, we also use a salmon pink undercoat. Now I know there's only so much painting you want to watch on one video, so here's just a little bit. And for those of you that moan about the music, I promise you, no music in this little sequence. Not sure this undercoat is actually salmon pink, it looks more like a tangerine orange. Now we think that because the paint supply added lead to the paint mix, it's changed the colour, but it doesn't matter because eventually all this will be covered by Rexine. Are you bored yet? Okay, so you get the gist. Painting a double-decker bus takes a long time, so let's just show you the before and after. Well, there you have it, that's the end of another video, and I'd just like to say thanks again for watching. Now in the next video we're going to continue the work on the inside of the bus and we're going to make a start on changing the window rubbers. Now if you watched the last episode you'll know I pointed out that we noticed that the window rubbers had become porous, they were starting to let in water, so we'd ordered a whole load of new window rubber, and here it is, all 64 metres of it, that we're going to replace every single rubber on the bus. So that's in the next episode. Before we finish this one, as promised, let's just announce what my decision is regarding the PA system. Now, you've been contributing and commenting in your droves, so thank you very much to everybody that commented after my appeal for help in the last video. Just like to read out some of the comments before we do finish. Aaron Jones, hello to you. Aaron says, keep the PA system, it'd be good to have a bus with one on. Alan Dawes, hello to you. Alan, thanks again for contributing. Great to see the update. To have a bus in your fleet with a sound system is an ideal situation for your business. Crew Alex, hello to you. I say leave the PA system in. It doesn't seem too intrusive and I think you might regret taking it out. Yeah, good point, Crew, thank you. John Michael Dorian, hello John. Another sterling video on RM1214. I think you should keep the PA system in as it's handy and will prove useful in the future. Yeah, you could be right there, John. Andrew Kirkham, use your business head and keep the PA system on the bus. And keep these excellent videos coming, says Andrew. So thank you very much for that, Andrew. We'll do our best. Austin Allegro Agatha. That's a great name, isn't it? Personally, I'd leave the PA system. It's an addition to the vehicle if it's used for the events that require music. It's not exactly in your face, and I doubt the bus police will care if it's not original. You don't know the bus police. Window lickers is what we call them. And finally, Manny the limo driver. Hello to you, Manny. Thanks again for your comment. If it makes you money, keep the PA system on the bus. Think with your business head. And that's exactly what I've done. And that's why we are going to keep the PA system on the bus. So thank you to everybody for your comments. Sorry I didn't have time to read every single one of them out, but we'd have been here all day if I'd have done that. But yeah, the PA system will stay on the bus. When the seats and everything go back in, the PA system and the speakers and everything will be back on the bus, so we will have a bus that can play music. The only downside is that the amp and the mixer take up all that space in the conductor's locker. So where are we going to put our sandwiches when we're out on a wedding hire? That's a big problem. But we are going to keep the PA system on the bus. Anyway, thanks again for watching. Don't forget to join us next time when we do another video on the internal restoration of RM1214. Thanks again for watching. Until next time, bye-bye.